What's going on, y'all? On this week's episode of Jank decks I found on magic.gg and then modified, we've got Mono Blue Turbo Mill. Uh, Pretty self-explanatory. Our win cons are Ruin Crab, Fairy's Tutelage, Maddening Cacophony. We want to win by making our opponents draw their entire decks, and of course putting most of it in the graveyard. To accomplish that goal, we want to slow our opponents down a bit, so we've got Stern Dismissals into the Royals, and we need to draw a lot of cards, so we've got 4 Frantic Inventories, 4 Into the Stories, and some Octopuses here. 4 Fabled Passage in the mana base, because the combo with Ruin Crab is too good. And in the sideboard, we've mostly got counterspells and such for the more control-y matchups. Some Zulaport duelists can come in if we're up against creatures, as does the Essence Scatter. Seagate Stormcaller can be a brutal combo with Maddening Cacophony or a bounce spell. So, yeah, that's the deck. Let's try it out. On the draw, we've got a crab. We've got some other stuff. Should be okay as long as we draw some lands. Mono red, crab can be okay against that. A second Fervent Champion, third Fervent Champion. Alright. That is quite the hand from our opponent. Not sure there's anything this sweeperless list can do about it. I will block the 2/1. Is it even worth bouncing one of these? I guess if they make one into a 3/1 again next turn, it is. Or we could just play our Gargoyle because it can block on a 5/4 blocker. Seems pretty good here. Our opponent is not dissuaded by the 5/4. Is it Embercleave? If they have triple Fervent Champion into Cleave, I don't think any deck could have won this match. Take these blocks, I think. Unless we want to play around Stomp or Rimrock Knight. I think that's okay, actually. This is a bit safer. It is Cleave. Alright, we lose. They put the Cleave there. I guess they do get free equips, but that cost them a lot of damage. We can bounce whichever one has the Cleave on it during combat, so we don't take that much damage. Alright, that's enough mills to turn on our Into the Story. We just need to find another land to do it. 4th Fervent Champion. Alright. Sure. Let's let them point their +1/+0s. Alright, they balance them out. Oh, we have to do this. 1, go to 10. Merfolk Windrobber looks pretty bad against this board. Can be a redraw, but our tempo plays are just so bad against triple Fervent Champion. We are definitely not milling them out nearly fast enough. Let's keep stalling. Bouncing 1-drops with haste is just so terrible. Let them attack. Resolve these, go to blocks, jump the Faceless Haven, and here. Let's see if we can find a bounce spell for this Fervent Champion. We cannot. Go to 2 and stomp for lethal. No, well, we're still super dead. Is there anything we can draw here that saves us? Let's see, if we play our second crab, and then we inventory into a bounce spell, then we're still taking 2, and we're dead, so, yeah. 4 Fervent Champion draw, come on, man. Zulaport Duelist is pretty good here. I think Shark Typhoon is at least a way to hard remove creatures, so we need to bring that in as well. I think Windrobber's pretty bad. And let's see, maybe it's the Maddening Cacophony because it doesn't do much on board. I think that's the best we're going to get. However, mono red should be a terrible matchup for us. Maybe I should have brought in Essence Scatter. It's not a terrible hand. I expect we'll draw another land by turn 4, so I'm going to save the passage in case we find a crab. Come on, opponent. You're just gonna drop all your Fervent Champions. You don't have to think this hard about the mulligan. Thank you. Alright, doesn't have haste at least. Get this out. I think it is our best card in this matchup. There's no world in which I don't block this. If they 2-for-1 to try and kill the Vantress Gargoyle, so be it. It ate up 6 damage for us. And a card. Alright, no untapped land. Guess we might as well frantic inventory for it. Don't find it. Alright. There it is. Probably making a 2/2 shark here to trade with their Phoenix. I guess if we plan to mill them, that doesn't work too well. We could slam an octopus and bounce something here. I think that's a decent idea. I think it's better than trading the shark here. See if they want to pump their Phoenix. If they do, it gets bounced. If not, we save the stern dismissal. Rimrock Knight's not a great one to bounce, since they can use the instant side again. Second Rimrock Knight. Well, we've got to do something, so at least they don't have haste, so one of those is going back. And they're good to block with Shark Typhoons. There's a crab. I think we go for that. We can block the charger for days. And actually gets our WinCon online. Maybe we can cast this into the story at some point. Probably not if our opponent has any sort of decent draw, but I think we're trading a shark for a Rimrock Knight here. Leave open one in case we find a stern dismissal. Nope. If they use the Rimrock Knight to kill our crab, I think we're fine. Keeps them from casting the creature this turn. Let's see. They probably want to trade their Phoenix for this octopus, that's why they didn't attack with it. But if we don't mill them more, we're just losing very quickly. I think this iteration of Mono Red is our worst possible matchup. At least I'm hoping. If it's not, then the deck is utter garbage, but we'll see. Really playing it around a second octopus. Interesting. Well, there's no use in not playing it. Let's see. And they have no cards in graveyard. Yeah, this game's over. After we give this a good try, I might try splashing black for Extinction Event and or Shadow's Verdict. So against the creature decks of the current format, bouncing just doesn't really do it. That's not a hand. Another mono red opponent here, almost certainly. definitely want the things that impact the board. Might be the end of the story here. Might be the tutelage. I think it's the tutelage. Turn 1 Fervent Champion. Yep. Is it even worth playing this game out? We'll see. Probably not. I would like to keep my crab. Of course, that allows them to hardcast their Rimrock Knight. Pass here, probably bounce the Rimrock Knight. Unless they play an Anax or something. Just bouncing the Rimrock Knight here. Use the more mana efficient play. This also keeps their robber from doing anything. Oh, now they can kill our crab. I think we still have to take the 5 here. Because we need to keep this crab alive so we can end the story. Yeah. If we don't hit this end of the story on turn 4, we've essentially done nothing. We don't have any other means of putting their cards in the graveyard other than actually milling them. We can't kill anything. We let them steal this. Stern Dismissal's a bit annoying. Actually, it's very annoying. It keeps us from using into the story next turn. They don't do it though, they let me block. Okay. I'm afraid they're going to try and stomp my crab after this, so we bounce the robber now. No response, okay. Take 1. Now they dismiss the crab. Interesting. Well, we can mill them for a fair bit here. We're still probably dead after that, though. We do really need bounce spells. I guess holding 2 into the stories is pretty greedy. Alright, that's 1 Embercleave down. Perhaps they don't have 1 in hand. That is exceptionally foolish of me to think. Yep. We go to 1, and there's no point. I don't even think we're going to game 2. Yeah. The mono red matchup is utterly hopeless trying to play Turbo Mill. Let's see if we can find someone else, or if everyone's just playing mono red trying to rush into Mythic at the end of the season. Third time on the draw, alright. We'll give it one more try. If we hit mono red again or lose hopelessly, we'll try splashing black. On the draw, 4th time in a row. Okay. Luris at least. Not mono red. Rogues. Okay. Milling a rogues gamer isn't ideal. I think it's the crab though. Wind Robber is technically more efficient if we wanted to play crab on 2, but I think we're playing gargoyle on 2. We could play octopus here and draw a card. I think the gargoyle's the better play though. Make them deal with it. Should block everything they have for a while. No attacks. No removal. Yet, anyway. Stopped them from attacking, though. Maybe they'd rather counter something. Oh, we can attack with our gargoyle. Well, let's go for it. I don't think our crab is going to block anything, so we'll attack here just in case we want to put our octopus on it. I don't really want to risk the octopus, so I think we're just playing Wind Robber and holding up inventory here. Or we can mutate the octopus on end step. And hold our inventory for when we have tutelage on board. They drown our Wind Robber. Okay. I'm more afraid of that than a 5/4. Sure. Holding our inventory is also good in case they mill an inventory. Then we get to draw more, of course. If they use their black mana on their turn, I'm definitely mutating this octopus. Hit by Luris, okay. We have Into the Story. I'd much rather have tutelage on board to do that. Let's see what we draw here. Maddening Cacophony, huh? If we Into the Story here, can they beat us? Or can we just beat them to death? I think we just Into the Story here. We should find more card draw to use with our Teferi's tutelage. As shown, we now have 2 frantic inventories and a Wind Robber, which together draw the same number as Into the Story for only 1 more mana. Opponent looks to be Agadim's Awakening for 2, which I don't think we're terribly afraid of. Still doesn't get them around to the 5-4. No, they're just checking what they have for Luris, which is a Wind Robber. Sure. They still can't draw off their Wind Robbers. Let's go for Fabled Passage since we have Crab on board. And go for our attacks. They take 7. And let me draw. Let's see, in that case, I think it's just Crab, Tutelage, draw, discard island, and pass. We'll hold the priority in case we want to bounce something here, probably the Luris to stop them from gaining life. Maybe we should have done that on our turn, so they'd have to pay again before they could cast something from the graveyard. But I don't think it's going to matter. Opponent thinking very hard, as Rogues players are known to do. Thought Thief, fine. Pass, let them do what they want to do here. Okay, they do attack with the Luris. We do want to bounce that. Drown our Stern Dismissal, fine. No blocks. If we find removal for the Thought Thief, we do have lethal. Unless they have another Wind Robber here. Or Crab. Let's just try and find that removal. That's not it. We're getting close to milling them out though. Let's thin our deck and get rid of theirs. Draw 3. There's a Stern Dismissal. Got him. Alright. Turbo Mill may just beat Rogues. Let's see. Mystical Dispute definitely comes in. Essence Scatter's okay here. It's probably better than Into the Royal. As casting this for 4 feels bad to get countered. Oh, let's see, we still need to cut one more. On the draw, I'm tempted to cut a Restoration. Maybe it's an Octopus. I think Gargoyle is still very good. Blocks everything in their deck. Maybe it's a cacophony because sorceries are just not very good against rogues. And of course it doesn't do anything tempo-wise. Let's try that. That hand should be okay. Opponent has their own crab. Another tap land, okay. I think we just pass here, plan to draw with Frantic Inventory. Maybe we bounce something instead. Save our Frantic Inventories for when we have a tutelage on board. There's one inventory in the graveyard. Let's try and bounce this crab. If they have a Thought Thief here, we're forced to dismiss it, but I think that's okay. Yep, and they're more comfortable playing it out since we just used one. And then here we play our crab into tap land. Wind Robber from the opponent. They appear to be bottlenecked on blue, which is good. Guess resolve our tutelage while they're tapped out. Of course, this makes it so we can draw a card with our own Wind Robber. Don't need that many lands. As the player with fewer creatures in our deck, I think we're fine to just keep cards off the battlefield, or if we can keep milling them, that's good too. Make them fear another stern dismissal. Skyclave Shade, sure. Cast it, fine. Don't super care. I can block it with a Wind Robber. On turn. Mill, please. They have something. Let's see if we can hit a land while we're here. No lands, those are good cards though. Opponent down to 35. See if we can make it 34. Then play out both these Wind Robbers. do I hold up for their end of the story? Not really, we're trying to turbo mill them. I think we just want our blockers. I'm fine if you dispute my 1-mana creature. Isn't really anything in this deck that I'd rather they dispute than a Wind Robber. Block here. Do I make them recast it, or do I draw the card? I think I draw the card. Another tutelage, pretty good draw. Especially with our dispute here to help us resolve it. Ventress Gargoyle is also a pretty nice card. What are the odds they're sitting on double drown? Not terribly low. Maybe we just play the Gargoyle out. It can block the Shade profitably. I think that's the play. And then we still have Frantic Inventory up. Whereas if we go for tutelage and it gets countered, we're very sad. There's one drown. I think this is worth fighting over. Resolves. Nice. They might just have regular removal for it, but that's fine. They do still have the Thought Thief, of course. Take our draw. Forgot about that. There's the land. That's good. Means we can inventory here if we feel it's necessary. Though if we do, we're out of gas when we put this second tutelage down. Attack with the Wind Robber just for the mill. Interesting. Oh right, I forgot I don't have the cards in hand for the Gargoyle. I don't think it's worth blowing our inventory for that. Crab, fine. We are winning the mill race so far. Never mind, that's a Fabled Passage. If we can resolve this other tutelage, we should be in decent shape. That's an end of the story. I think we still need to resolve this tutelage, though. Resolves. I think we're discarding this Fabled Passage since we don't have a crab. There's only one left in the deck, the other three have already been milled. And then we pass. This Frantic Inventory mills 6. And can get this Gargoyle into blocking range. See if they mill another inventory. They do. This is now a 2-mana draw 4 if it resolves. They end the story in response, hoping to hit a mystical dispute, probably. They don't have it. Okay. I think we win then, because we can into the story on our turn, and that will mill them out. Oh, that's a beautiful number of triggers. Oh dear. Oh, no, they're already dead. Past the blocks. We still have 10 cards in our library. Don't think there's any way they can kill us here. Yep. Alright, we beat rogues. Not too bad. That game looked rough for a while, but we got there. Didn't even lose a single game. Cool, cool. Well, since we did win one, we'll keep going with this list. Maybe it's fine against anything that's not mono red. We'll see. Fourth time on the draw? No, fifth. Yeah, because we played against mono red 3 times. Okay, at least they're not playing mono red. Though they have stomp on too. There's the red source. Show me the stomp. Yep. Always have it. Probably sternly dismiss something here. Shadow Spear. Well, I don't care about lifelink. They hold up a Brazen Borrower? Or they just plan on doing nothing this turn? The Shadow Spear holds priority, it doesn't have to be a Brazen Borrower. I pass. One more card in graveyard and our End of the Story is turned on. Eddie, of course. What a card. Though if our opponent wants to draw a lot of cards, that's okay with us. In fact, I'll let him do it again. There's a maddening cacophony. I think we're just into the story here, though. Yeah. Do it while they're tapped out. We've seen they run Mystical Dispute in the main. Goldspan Dragons, pretty annoying. Pointless attack with the Eddy here. Unless they plan to stomp the crab. Yeah, I should have thought that through. Yeah, it's fine. Getting tutelage down here keeps our win con going, so I think that's gotta be the plan. Into the Royals are good. I think we're probably playing our Gargoyle here. Might be discard the Cacophony. Two borrowers down. If they don't have an answer to the Gargoyle, it trades with one of their dragons. I will take this trade. And we can bounce their dragons for a while here. The Bone Crusher is a bit of an issue. Gargaroth is much less of an issue because we don't take 2 damage targeting it. Stern Dismissal, of course, is also very nice. We might just into the Royal one and Stern Dismiss the other here. I think that is the play. Let's see. See if we draw a land. I might want to cast this Restoration. No land, so play out the Restoration. They still have a ways to go on their library. Though if they're going to draw cards on their own with Eddie, that helps. I think we bounce the dragon now before they have a chance to draw a counterspell. Though if they have an untapped land and they sack the treasure there, they could replay the dragon before combat. They do not have the land. Attack for 1, fine. See, draw 4, mill 8, get them to 17. I think that's it, and play a Gargoyle, though then we're dead to Stomp, which isn't great. On the other hand, we could play Gargoyle and into the Royal their Dragon, in which case we mill 1, and we're in a better spot on board. I think that's it. Yeah. We would have been dead if we went for the end of the story here. Let's bounce the dragon before they can make the treasure. Yeah, that's lethal. They played 2 different counter spells in the main. That's interesting. Definitely want Essence Scatter here. Probably one Didn't Say Please as well. Wind Robber is very bad against Bone Crusher Giant. They don't really have any way to deal with Tutelage or Crab easily. Gargoyle is fine. It trades up. I don't think Octopus is great in this match, but what would we switch it out for? Disputes, maybe? I don't think Zulaport Duelist is really worth it here. Or is Miscast better than Dispute here? I think so, because it can shut down the adventures. Let's try that. I don't think we can keep a 2-lander on the play. That's a curve. Octopus means we lose to Bone Daddy. And they always have Bone Daddy on 2. We'll see. We also need to start drawing cards. No Bone Daddy on 2. What's wrong? Oh, we might use both of these spells. So not going with the Fabled Passage there. Kill the 1/1, sure. Short. No. Go ahead and draw. More land is not what we're looking for. That's a disgusting amount of land. Thin our deck before we draw with the octopus here. Okay, that's a card. Another land off the top, beautiful. Well, we made a sizable dent in their library. Here comes the Bone Crusher. They had it the whole time, they just didn't have the red source. What'd I tell ya? 200% of the time. Okay, they borrow that. Little did they know we don't have any other spells to cast. Miscast is pretty good, however I think our opponent is playing a creature here, so we're going to go with the Gargoyle. Save the Fabled Passage in case we draw another crab. Alright, no dragon at least. No plays of any kind. Interesting. I will attack for 5, please. Opponent takes 5. Borrower, sure. I'm not sure they want to race. They do have the land. There's a Bone Crusher, sure. Let's go ahead and send that back. Another tutelage is good here. Let's attack first. We have miscast in case they want to dispute us here. No dispute. Well, Seagate Restoration with no cards in hand doesn't do a whole lot. I think we keep the miscast in case they have Alrund's Epiphany or something. I'd probably miscast a Petty Theft as well here. Maybe even the Stomp here. But then if they have the Epiphany, we're dead. Well, not actually dead, but it's a position from which we probably wouldn't come back. Though we haven't seen an Epiphany yet, they might not play it. If they don't play Epiphany, that was a major misplay. Alright, we need a non-land here, so we're going to go ahead and fetch. Don't think we have any way to increase our damage by 1. Is Into the Story lethal? It does 16. Yeah, it is. Unless they have 2 counter spells. Let's go for it. Or dispute because they can pay 3. Ouch. Miscast looking bad. Let's see if they know how it works. They do. Unfortunate. After this one, I'll go back to playing a good deck. Sixth straight game on the draw? Is that correct? I'll just check my assistant here, make sure I'm not missing something. Might not show up here yet, actually. Yeah, it's not showing up. We'll check later. Is this mono white without a 1-drop? No, it's cycling. Yeah. Well, if we can somehow mill all their Zenith Flares, we will be okay. I think we go for our Octopus here. I don't think there's anything cycling is going to do about that right now. Improbable alliance down, that's good. Opponent has no interest in actually casting their spells. Let's see, we're going to need a counter spell. Do we have counters in the main? No, we don't even have any counters in the main. This is not going to work. Unless we mill all 4 flares. Or somehow mill them out before they can flare us for 20. Maybe I should have dropped off the end of the Royal. They're very clearly not giving me any non-land permanents to bounce. They missed the land though. That's okay. Let's see if we draw a crab. No crab. I think we're okay doing this though. Cycle. Can our opponent find their 4th land? They do. They cast a permanent spell. Wow. Let's just sternly dismiss that, move on with our lives. We don't really need to draw a card off into the Royal just yet. Another octopus is good. Well, that's a lot of triggers, just the way I like it. Well, Zenith Flare here is lethal if they have it. They don't do anything else, but perhaps they're afraid of counter spells. Though if we back them into a corner, it doesn't matter. Hey, we've seen 2 flares. Seems pretty likely they have at least one in their hand. Okay, they do have the flare, probably. If we had any counter spells in our main deck, we would win this game. But since we do not, we are going to lose it. Yep. Very unfortunate. Alright, didn't say please comes in. Does Dispute come in? I think we can get 2 Disputes. Should be easy enough to counter the Flare. Cacophony is meh. Octopus is very good as long as they don't play their creatures. This is one match where I don't think Gargoyle is great, since they can chump it with the Improbable Alliance. Though perhaps it's better than Into the Royal if they're not playing any permanents. Yeah. Oh, Miscast is better than Dispute for sure. Yeah. If they play the other games like they played that one, we should have a pretty good chance to win with counter spells. Let's thin our deck since we have a 5-land hand. Maybe I should have put this hand back, but mulling on the play is so bad. Just cycle, dude. I know what you're doing. Like, ain't no point in this nonsense. Yeah. Oh, they keep a 1-lander. That's fun. Let's get our tutelage down. Don't need any more basics. Next turn we plan to flash in our Octopus. Just milled 2 flares there. Okay. That means there's only 2 we need to counter, and we have 2 counter spells in hand. So we should be able to pull that off. Right, we at least get a game 3 against this cycling player. I'm gonna call it now. Alright, there's 3 flares. Only need to counter 1. Our opponent's still going to play it all out because they don't know that we actually have counter spells. So they bring in their disputes, so they're ready for some counter spells. Let's quicken the clock. Pyromancer. It's pretty annoying. See, they're at 12, so if we draw 3 here, that's lethal. See, yeah, we have to do that. And then if we draw any, well, it doesn't matter because they can't play a land at upkeep. Yeah. I think our deck's okay. Is it worth getting rid of the Into the Royals in favor of something else? Maybe a Stormcaller? Or maybe 2 Stern Dismissals in favor of a Stormcaller? Or maybe just put the Cacophonies back in? Yeah, we'll try that. Though maybe our opponent will switch it up and actually cast their permanent spells this time around. Always possible. Come on. Does not appear that they plan to cast their permanent spells. Except for the 2 Ironcrag Pyromancers they've cast so far. Across both games. Imagine playing 2 games of Magic and only casting 3 spells. Let's get our card draw here. Unless they have something to do about this. Shredded Sails. That's rough. Now we're just sitting on our didn't say please. Nope, we draw a tutelage. Let's see if they have anything for that. They might have a dispute, which would feel bad. Nope. I don't think we've seen anything in their deck that actually removes enchantments so far. No. Though we're going to need to find some more counter spells. Pyromancer, sure. That makes it easier for their flare to get there. Let's see. We're not dead to a flare now, so I think we can get a gargoyle down. At least give them something to worry about. Gargoyle doesn't die to Ironcrag Pyromancer, which is something. If they have the double flare here, they got us. Yep. Oh, do they not have something to cycle though? Interesting. However, we don't have any way to hard remove that Ironcrag Pyromancer. At 27, attacking doesn't seem to be the way. We can't even respond to the trigger, can we? So if they draw a cycler, we die. They have something which holds priority. Not sure what they're holding back for. Well, that we can stop. Assuming we draw one of our counter spells, that is. Nope. 2 more lands is not going to do it. Alright, as we all may have suspected, Turbo Mill is turbo terrible.